What is your favorite Iron Sheik story? Because you've got that gimmick battle royal. You've got when he got put in the Hall of Fame when he wouldn't stop talking,
Oh
and he
yeah,
kept going and kept
yeah.
going. But what is one of your favorite Iron Sheik stories?
That's probably one of my favorites. Is when he went stopped talking at his ceremony for the induction into the Hall of Fame. But I guess uh, there's so many stories. There's a few I can't tell, because they're crazy stories. But I'll tell one, and nobody here ever repeat it. Okay. We were doing a thing with Bill Apter one time, and signing, and he said, "Do you guys mind coming next door? I got a table set up, and we're going to do just like we're doing right now, question and answer, Q&A. I'm going to ask you guys questions, and the fans are going to ask you questions." I said, "Okay." So there's Tito Santana and myself, and Iron Sheik, and a couple other the wrestlers. There's about 8 of us all together. And so someone asked me a question, and the Sheiky's kind of like falling asleep at the table. And so someone asked me a question: what was it like to have Kurt Angle in professional wrestling? And I said, "Well, I think it's a great honor to have someone that won the Olympic medal, gold medal, in our profession, in our business. It just makes us look even bigger and better." And I said, "Same as the Iron Sheik over here." And when he heard his name, he kind of perked up. And I said, "The Sheik has a medal from the Olympics." And he goes, "Yeah, yes, I have medal. Jabroni." And he's yelling at his manager in the back of the room, "Jabroni, bring the bag, bring the bag." So he brings up this bag, and it's like a bank bag. It's got a zipper on it. It's got all of his stuff in there, and his medals are in there. So he wants to show everybody his medals. So the manager's not doing it right, and he say, "Give me that bag, you jabroni." And so he starts unzipping the bag, and he sees the ribbon of the medals, and he's getting frustrated. So he gives it a big yank, and when he gives it a big yank and the medals come out, so do about 3 or 4 joints flying through the air, bouncing all over the table and on the floor, and he doesn't skip a beat. He's like, "Here's the medals, and here's that." And he's talking about his medals and this and that, and I'm looking at Tito Santana, and I'm laughing, and Tito's laughing, and I see a joint on the floor. I said, "Tito, grab that joint. We'll go up and smoke it later." And he said, "Yeah, we ought to do that." So we go back to hearing the Sheik, and finally he goes, and Eddie, oh, this the Sheik medicine. He said the Sheik's medicine got bad back, got the bad neck, got the bad arm. It's the Sheik's medicine, and if anybody want to come, bring the Sheik more medicine. I'm in room 203. I fell off my chair, fell off the chair. But he was quite the character. Yeah.
You ended up getting put in the Hall of Fame the first time they brought it back in 2004. You'd been through a lot of stuff. Did it mean a lot to you when they put you in the Hall of Fame?
Well, it really meant a lot because I was voted unanimously, and I was still actually in the business. I was still wrestling, and that was really quite an honor that I was voted in unanimously. We were having a production meeting in somewhere in Cleveland, and I had to go get something. And when I left, the meeting was over. They're all leaving the meeting, and everybody's coming up, "Congrats, congrats, congrats." And Gerald Briscoe came up to me and grabbed my hand and patted me on the back. He said, "Congratulations." I said, "For what?" "I found the eraser I was trying to find." And he says, "No, they just voted you into the Hall of Fame, 2004 Hall of Fame." "They did?" "Yeah." He said, "Unanimously." Yeah. And I said, "Well, how'd that happen?" He said, "Well, Vince said, 'Oh, we're going to have a Hall of Fame this year. and we need to have somebody, voted in. Who's anybody got a name? And he said Triple H said, I think the Sarge should be in the Hall of Fame. And Vince said, who else thinks that? And he said, they all raised their hand. So you're in the Hall of Fame. So I thought that was quite an honor to be given it that way.
We got a couple of questions before we go from the audience. Adam wants to know which 4 wrestlers would be on your personal Mount Rushmore.
Oh, wow. Well, one would have to be Andre the Giant. I had many, many, many matches with Andre the Giant. Same kind of thing that Harley Race told me. First match I had with Andre, he told Mr. McMahon Sr., I want to be married to him. And so we had a match one time in a little town in New Jersey. And there was a big hype about, Hulk Hogan slammed Andre, the first time, but he wasn't the first, and I wasn't the first. But in a match in New Jersey, not only did I slam Andre twice, but he had me suplex him. And after the suplex, and I couldn't hold him because of his weight, and we kind of collapsed in the ring, Mr. McMahon Sr. came right up to ringside and said, Andre, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. You're going to get hurt. And so I would never have slammed Andre or suplexed him unless he wanted me to. But so Andre would have to be, of course, in the Hall of Fame or the Mount Rushmore. Wow, that's a tough one. I guess I'd have to say Harley Race. Harley Race was, to me, one of the ultimate champions. Gosh, that's a tough question. There's so many that should be there. Probably a Barry Windham. Barry wasn't given a lot of credit for his ability, but he was probably one of the greatest hero wrestlers I ever wrestled. He was amazing in the ring, could do anything, and he just got kind of cut short because of his injuries. And wow,
one more.
One more. Jeez.
You can't put yourself on it.
Could I be in there? Could they? I can't be in there. Maybe. Who do you all think? Is there? Throw out some names and I'll. Stone Cold's a good one. The Rock. Bray Wyatt. Who? Bruno. Bruno, definitely. I liked Bruno. Undertaker. Yep.
So we've got a Mount Rushmore of 12 people at this point. 2 more questions. So this is a good one. Who was the biggest prima donna you ever worked with and why?
I think I already filled that one, but prima donnas. Well, Shawn Michaels probably the biggest, but then he straightened his life out.
Why was he such a prima donna? What was it about him?
He just was a troubled kid. He was so talented, and he just was a tough one to handle. And he just didn't go by the way it should be. He always wanted to do it his way, and he always thought his way was the best. But he himself will even tell you that he was messed up, but there's not really too many that I would call a prima donna. I mean, if you're good, you're good. You just don't have to broadcast it. That's all.
Can you give us a good Ric Flair story?
Oh yeah, I grew up with Ric Flair. We were childhood friends. We played Little League baseball together. We played hockey and some Pop Warner football games. We played high school against each other, wrestling and football. And so I know Ric Flair very, very, very well. That's another one of those stories that I don't know, especially since we're recording this. Rick was just, I guess that it's kind of out of wrestling, but Rick and Ken Patera were the good friends, and they worked out together. And at that time, Ken had just gotten out of the Olympics, and he was probably about 350 pounds. And Rick was living with him and working out with him. And Rick got to be about 350, 400 pounds. He was just huge, huge. He looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy without the hat on. And he could only wear sweats because he couldn't get into anything else. And so I had a softball team when I was first breaking into professional wrestling. And before I became a professional wrestler, I was going through the camp. And so I got to know Rick and Ken. And so I said, I'm short a couple of players. Are you guys in town? And they said, yeah, come on. I said, come on down Saturday, and we'll put you on the team. So they came down, and they pulled up in a Corvette. And I don't know how they got into the Corvette, the two of them together, or somebody must have slammed the doors to let them get in there. But so they got out of the Corvette and came over, and it was time for the game to start. I had, back then they had 10 players on a team. It's a slow pitch softball. And so I had 10 guys. So Rick was the 11th guy. So finally we were ahead quite a bit. So I said, Rick, why don't you go in and be the catcher? Because I knew he couldn't run too well. So he was the catcher. Then it was time for us to go at bat, and Rick got up to bat. And so they had fences, and the first pitch that they threw to Rick, he swung and missed it. We're talking about slow pitch, where the ball goes up in the air real slow, and you just have to wait for it to hit it. So when he swung and missed the first one, the outfielders moved in. And so then the next pitch came, and he swung, and he missed that one too. And the outfielders came even further. They figured he can't even hit the ball, so why should they be out so far? So the third pitch came, and he let it go by. So I called timeout. I said, Rick, don't be nervous. Don't worry about it. Just keep your eye on the ball. Don't look at the pitcher. Just look at the ball when it leaves his hand. He said, okay, sir, okay. So ball goes up in the air, and whack. He hit that ball so hard it hurt my ears off the bat. And it went over the outfielders' heads, and they're running like crazy to get to the ball. And Rick's running to first base. And they relayed the ball back in and throw it to first base and get him out before he got to first base. And so he said, he came over, and I said, Rick, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't hit the ball over the fence, I don't really have a whole lot of need for you. Because if you got thrown out at first base and you hit the ball over their head, unless they walk you, I don't know what else I can do. But that's a story I'll always remember about Ric Flair.